So are we going to favor the migrants or regular citizens? Let's talk about it. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about a New York City high school that was used, quote unquote, temporarily as a migrant shelter, which displaced the students for one day. Now, this is pretty important, and I'm going to address a few elephants in the room from the very beginning before we get to the news clip. Some are going to say, hey, ABO, it's not really a big deal. The kids were only out of school for one day. So what? The school was not taken over permanently by the migrants, all this, that, and the third. Now, there's a lot there. First of all, if you are a tax-paying citizen, you're a parent sending your kids to school, the school should never be interrupted for the use as a migrant shelter. Never, not during the school year. My kids go there, I'm paying my taxes, and then you call me at the 0 hour talking about, yeah, we're not going to have class today because the migrants were here, and keep your kids at home. Look, I got to go to work. I got to go do this. I got to go do that. I have a whole schedule set up, and you are interrupting. Some say, well, the school shouldn't be a daycare, whatever. Look, I'm paying my taxes. I'm doing my part. You can't just do whatever you want to do because you have the migrant issue. Okay? That's not how it should be. Now, some are going to say, well, the migrants came to the school way after closing, like 9 o'clock at night, and they left way before opening, like 4 o'clock. So in theory, the kids could have gone back at 6:30, 7 o'clock, whenever school starts, after the migrants were gone. But if the whole school was commandeered for the migrants overnight, and they're bringing in beds, they're bringing in food, they're bringing in all kind of stuff, then how can the kids come back just a couple hours later? They got to clean the school. Is there anyone still remaining inside the school? Do we have any dangerous materials? Do we have any weapons? Do we have a full sweep of the school? That can't be done in an hour or two before the kids get there, before the staff gets there, before the teachers get there. So obviously, there's going to be a day where the kids can't go and they got to do remote learning. And then the question is, can this happen again? Are they going to commandeer the school again? Are they going to commandeer something else? Are they going to quarter in your residence? Before I get into all those questions and possibly answers, let's get to the news clip. If you want to see the clip in full without my commentary, link as always will be in the description. If you're on IG, visit a link in the bio, go to the corresponding article on the website. But without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
9:12 right now in a news alert out of New York City. Students are being forced to learn online as nearly 2,000 migrants move into their school. Dave Foy is live.
2,000 migrants pour into the school overnight. There's no way you're going to be able to clean the school and get the school ready for the kids if they leave at 4 o'clock in the morning, let's say on a Thursday, Wednesday, whenever that was. This impossible. You're going to have at least one day, if not more, where the school is totally closed off to students, even after the migrants go back to where they came from. And when I say where they came from, I don't mean to the country of origin, unfortunately, but I digress.
Live in Brooklyn with the latest, with what's going on. Nate, what can you tell us about this?
Well, good morning. I can tell you that a couple state assemblymen and concerned parents just spoke moments ago, and they are very upset that the students at this school, 3,600 students, are learning remotely today because of those nearly 2,000 migrants that moved in last night at the city.
3,600 students all getting the phone call at their homes. Their parents are getting the phone call, hey, no school today because of the migrants. They took it over. I mean, if I'm a parent and my kids go there, I'm heated. You living in New York City, you're living in New York, a lot of these liberal areas, very high taxes. Look, I'm working my fingers to the bone. I'm working 2 or 3 jobs. I can barely pay my bills, barely pay for the increased cost of goods, services, housing, everything. And you telling me that the migrants are taking over my kid's school where I pay taxes? You got to be kidding me.
direction. Those migrants, because the weather is a bit better today than it was last night, have since been moved back to their tent facility. That happened at 4:30 this morning, but the impact continues for the students today. They're learning remotely. All sports practices have been canceled, and we just heard from concerned parents saying that some teachers aren't even showing up for the remote learning sessions. So they say that this really is not a situation that they're comfortable with. But take a look at this video as you see those 2,000 migrants arrive here last night. Again, it was because of bad weather threatening their nearby tent facility. The school notified parents of the students. The city writing, quote, "The health and safety of migrants in our care is always a top priority, which is why we are currently overseeing the relocation of 1,900 guests from the Humanitarian Emergency Response and Relief Center at Floyd Bennett Field."
Let's pause right here. Now, Floyd Bennett Field out there in Brooklyn, if I'm not mistaken, this was an old runway. I think it was on like a military base, like decommissioned. So it's a flat piece of concrete, and they put tents on top of the flat piece of concrete. Now, before they were building it, there was already a known risk of flooding. You just put tents on top of a slab of concrete with no foundation, just, some ragtag kind of stuff. It's gonna flood when it rains. And it rains more than one time a year in New York City. So you're gonna have this same situation happen again. And then you keep having more and more migrants come to the city. Where are they gonna go? Just out there on the street in another tent at Floyd Bennett Field? Whose home, school, place of business, church is going to be commandeered to house these people?
That relocation is forcing students to again learn at home, a proven disaster for learning, as we saw during COVID. Florida Governor and presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis spoke about this last night. Listen here.
The city government is commandeering the school to house illegal aliens.
Crazy.
So the migrants now are back at Floyd Bennett Field, but many are wondering for how long. Of course, we're in the middle of winter here in New York City. We just had a nor'easter over the weekend, and harsh conditions are expected.
A nor'easter is a really big storm that happens a lot in that particular part of the country. We used to get some of those in Virginia a little bit as well. Some of the southern parts of the storm.
Throughout the winter. So people are concerned that this could happen again, not only at this school, but in other districts across New York, which is why these two assemblymen who are not part of this district are here speaking today. And they say that they're drafting legislation to prevent the city from housing migrants in active schools. New York City Mayor Eric Adams says the city is full. Of course, you guys are running into similar problems in Chicago, and the mayor's office says that they're considering all options here. We'll send him.
So that's what's happening. Now, my question from the beginning, and you heard DeSantis allude to it, talking about commandeering the schools. What are they going to commandeer next? Now, speaking about Chicago, we'll get to that in a minute, but here is your main man, Eric Adams. And this was when? 7 months ago. So this is back in June of 2023. Here he is giving suggestions on where migrants could be housed.
It is my vision to take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then move to private residence.
So this is on the Blaze. It just clipped that right there. And then this is Massachusetts, actually, not Chicago, Massachusetts. They're talking about where to house some of these people, including possibly your private residence, maybe your house. You got a spare bedroom, you got a basement or something like that. Taking the migrant.
Most importantly, if you have an extra room or suite in your home, please consider hosting a family. Safe housing and shelter is our most pressing need. Become a sponsor family. You can contact the Brazilian Worker Center for more information on how you can step up if you're willing to have an additional family be part of your family.
So that's what they want eventually. Now, I don't know if they're going to be able to just straight commandeer your house, but I mean, why not? I think that this whole thing with the school may have set a precedent where they can take over an active school. Like, we're not talking about the summertime when the school's unoccupied, We're not talking about a break. We're talking about in the middle of the school year, they just brought 2,000 people to the school overnight. And then when they realized they can't get the school prepared for the students in time, they just went ahead and canceled it just right there on the day of, like a snow day or something. Oops, yeah, we're going to have remote learning. And then you go to the so-called remote learning, kids ain't going to show up, teachers ain't going to show up. It's a whole big mess. And as my man said in a news clip as I close, that was proven to be a disaster during C-19. A lot of kids are totally behind, can't read, can't write. You're ruining entire generations of American kids for what? For the replacements? If that's not the case, then I can't tell. But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? What's your take on what happened here in New York City? Not really a big deal. It was just one night. They came right back the next day. Whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. You guys know where I'm at. This sets a dangerous precedent. And I think the priorities of the city are pretty clear. They want to help these so-called migrants no matter what. It doesn't matter if you, the taxpayer, are inconvenienced, if you, the taxpayer, are stolen from, if your services are cut. I mean, imagine that. Not only are they cutting services as far as the actual money given to them, 5%, 10% or more, they're also just straight up taking your facilities you pay for. Yeah, I know you pay your taxpayer money for this. I know you're working hard. I know you're paying an arm and a leg to live in the city. But guess what? We're going to use this school that's active with teachers, students, everybody. It's active. We're going to put 2,000 people in there overnight. And then since we can't tighten it up before your kids get there in the morning, we're going to go ahead and close school. And if you want to go online to do some quote unquote remote learning, then that option is available. So if you got to go to work, you can't find a babysitter, whatever. Oh, well, that's tough. Too bad. It's a crazy world that we live in, unfortunately. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.